So you
Um,
lied, brother.
yeah. So the 2026 World Cup is coming up. Um, I'm rooting for the African and the Black Caribbean teams. And I know you're not too familiar with the sport of soccer. In America,
But but
they
but
call it
but for for the sake of letting the fans know that anything that has anything to do with culture, I am going to root, soccer or otherwise.
yeah, yeah. In America, they call the game soccer here, but in all the other countries, they call it the game of soccer football.
Football, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Football, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Now, now,
and
now, now I will say that. I will say this. I knew that.
yeah, yeah. And it's crazy. I mean, I wish soccer was a little bit more popular here in America, but with this
But, hey,
addition of the,
let me say this. Up in the Bay Area, right?
yeah,
They I will say that um, I notice a lot of people are starting to engage in soccer, football,
yeah,
and
because you have
they are starting to put a lot of football fields, soccer
yeah.
fields.
What's the ethnic background of the Bay Area? There's a lot of
Uh, um,
Hispanics over there.
multidimensional.
Yeah, like I mean, there's a lot of immigrants here in America, so with the immigrant population increasing, soccer is getting a little bit more popular here. But I
Yeah,
feel like it still should be more popular.
I
But
think so.
the good thing about this World Cup is that it's going to be held here in North America. This World Cup is going to be held here, United States, Canada, and Mexico. So the United States being in America is going to bring more popularity to the sport here in the United
Wow,
States. So that's a good
that's
thing.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
Because I mean, I know for certain in California, there are a lot of Hispanics that love the sport of soccer. They love
yeah.
football.
Love most Hispanics love soccer.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to play that. That's one of I think that's one of the biggest sports for Hispanics is
Yeah,
football, soccer, if you will.
and of course, I'm half Nigerian, so I always root for the African teams. You know, and the
Right.
African team has never won the World Cup, but I think,
You mentioned that before, and
yeah,
I just find it hard to believe that Africa, no African country has ever won in soccer.
it's for a few reasons. It's for
Yeah.
a few reasons. Most of the time in the World Cup, they only allow 5 African teams to qualify.
Wow.
Yeah,
What do you mean they only allow five countries? Is there
5 African countries.
a legitimate reason for why they only allow five African countries to play?
Historically, they've only allowed 5 African teams to qualify for the World Cup. This time around, there's going to be more teams in the World Cup. So now, this 2026 World Cup, they're allowing 9 African teams to qualify.
Okay,
But
okay,
still,
but I'm a little baffled. I'm a little baffled.
yeah,
Why is there a limitation on um, African countries only being able to have five teams?
I mean, the powers that be of soccer, which are Europeans, of course, they want to give the European teams an advantage. So there's much more European teams in the World Cup than African teams. So your soccer is a European sport. Soccer was, I think, it was invented in England, and FIFA, the Confederation of um, International Soccer, is FIFA. I think they're out of France, so soccer is a European-dominated sport historically. So it only makes sense for them. They want to give their people, their continent, an advantage at the sport. So usually in the World Cup, there's like 16 plus European teams are allowed to qualify. So
Wow.
that always gives them an advantage. That's why historically, most of the time, it's been European teams who have won the World Cup, but South American teams have won the World Cup. That's also Argentina won the last World Cup. Brazil has won a couple World Cups also. So historically, it's been European and South American teams who have dominated the World Cup and dominated the sport. But the crazy thing about it, last World Cup, an African team made it to the semifinals, Morocco. But to me, that doesn't fully count because Morocco, that's an Arab country. But still, I mean,
Great.
yeah. But that's
Morocco
still a good thing.
is a Arab country.
Yes, an Arab country in North Africa. But I don't root for the Arab countries in Africa. I root for the sub-Saharan black countries in Africa. And aside from the African countries, I'm also rooting for the black Caribbean countries as well. You know,
Right.
let me give you a list of the sub-Saharan African countries that have qualified for this 2026 World Cup.
Okay.
Currently, it's Senegal, Ghana, South Africa, Ivory Coast, Cape Verde, and Nigeria or DR Congo might be able to qualify for the World Cup also.
Wow.
Black Caribbean teams who qualify for the World Cup are Haiti and Curacao. And Jamaica also has a chance to qualify.
Wait, Jamaica. Wait a minute. But Jamaica has been involved in soccer for years, hasn't it?
Yeah, they're not good at soccer to be honest.
You're
No
kidding.
disrespect to them, but they're not a great soccer country.
Wow. I was always under the impression that Jamaica had um good soccer players. No,
No, they don't. Not really.
that is really a shock.
Yeah,
Because they've been playing for years, correct?
yeah. These African teams, Caribbean teams have been playing for years, but you have to understand, soccer is not a Europe. I mean, soccer is a sport that was invented in Europe. So Europeans historically have been the best, the most talented, the most technically skilled at soccer for the most part. And teams around the world, African teams, even Asian teams, they've basically caught up to European and South American teams in talent and skill. A lot of your best African players are playing in the best European leagues. So
To
we're
date,
starting we're starting to see an emergence of African soccer, right?
right?
And I know you probably have never heard of the African Cup of Nations.
Wait a minute. The African Cup of Nations. No, brief me.
It's a it's an it's like the World Cup for Africa, for lack of better words. It's
Okay.
the top African countries who qualify play against each other. And this time around, the country who won the African Cup of Nations, it just happened back. It, they played in December, January, and the country that won was Senegal. Senegal beat Morocco and
I
won the
said no,
African
no,
Cup of
no, no.
Nations.
What league was this?
Is it what?
What league? League.
This is just international soccer.
Okay.
African countries playing against each other.
Ah, that's
Um,
interesting.
that's the same Moroccan team that made it to the semifinals in last World Cup that Senegal beat. So that shows you Senegal, man, is a very talented team. They have a lot of good players. Senegal can beat any team in the world. Any team in
Right
the world.
now,
Yes. They beat England last year in a friendly match. England
and
is one of the best.
England is a formidable country, formidable team.
Man, soccer was invented in England.
So quite
Yes.
so quite naturally they can play.
the biggest league in soccer in the world is the Premier League, which is based in England. So England's very formidable. They're a legit country in soccer. And Senegal beat them in the friendly match last year. And that was the first time in history that England has ever been beaten by an African team, ever in history. So that's just showing us that African teams are just getting better and better and better.
So
Um,
when did they pick up momentum and start to get better?
it kind of happened in phases. Um, African soccer has had its highs and its lows throughout like the last 40 years.
Uh,
It's had its highs and lows. Back in the 2010 World Cup, Ghana, I think they made it to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, and they almost made it to the semifinals. Almost.
almost.
Yeah, almost back in 2010. And I think in sometime in the early 90s, Cameroon made it to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, if I'm not mistaken. So African teams have had like the talent, the skill, but
To be a good
most
team, to be a good soccer
most of the
player,
time they're lacking something. Most of the time, a lot of time the African teams are lacking in confidence.
that what it is? You think
That's a big that's a big component. Confidence.
that would be a big component in any
Yeah,
sports? I would think
yeah. Like
that is actually, in my opinion, in any sport, the hugest component. You have to have confidence.
yeah, but the European teams have confidence because soccer is a European sport, and Europeans have historically dominated the World Cup. Countless teams, the European teams, have won the World Cup. So the European teams, the big name European teams like France, England, Belgium, Portugal, Spain, they come into the World Cup with the mentality, hey, I'm going to win it all. I'm the best of the best. So they believe in their ability and they play to their confidence, right?
Right.
The African team and the South American teams are like a Brazil, Argentina. Brazil has won the World Cup before. Argentina has won a couple World Cups before. So the South American teams kind of have the same mentality as the European teams coming to the World Cup that they can win it. But since no African team has ever won the World Cup, they don't really have that same arrogance or even confidence that hey, we can be the best of the best like the Europeans and South Americans. So the African teams kind of sometimes play with fear that the Europeans and South Americans are superior to them, and it shows in how they play sometimes.
Really,
Yeah,
that is tremendously fascinating.
psychology is a big component in sports. Like you're a boxing fan, and you should know that firsthand. Like mentality is everything in sports.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Wow, it's very interesting, if I say so myself.
but in today's modern age, teams teams aside country continents aside from Europe and South America are improving and have caught up to Europe and South America. Um, a lot of African teams have improved. A lot of Asian teams have improved. A lot of these Black Caribbean teams have improved. And I'm
Have
not
they?
just saying that just to say it. I'm saying it because I watch soccer and I know how these teams are playing. Right?
Uh huh.
Even in today's modern era in soccer, the European teams are getting worse. Actually,
Why is that? Or is the other countries are getting more competitive?
it's both at the same time. Both things are taking place at the same time. European teams are getting worse, but the other teams are getting better at the same time. So that's why I think this might be the first World Cup that we see a historic outcome.
Now that is really, really, really something that
Yeah,
we
like,
want to anticipate.
and I can
I,
give
I
you examples, right? Italy, Italy is historically is a soccer powerhouse. The
oh yeah,
European
yeah,
team,
yeah,
Italy.
yeah, yeah. Now I do recall. I do recall having a conversation with that.
Italy hasn't qualified for the World Cup for the last two World Cups,
What? What?
and they might not qualify for this World Cup. If they lose their next game, they won't qualify for the next World Cup. Italy. You would have thought a
Wow.
team like Italy that has been historically strong, they would have been like doing way better right now in soccer. They haven't qualified in a World Cup since 2014. They missed like the last two World Cups. They missed the 2018 World Cup and they missed the 2022 World Cup.
So is there an explanation for why that is?
Man, they're just less talent. They're just less talented than the past eras. They're probably less. They're less athletic, less physically strong, and athleticism and strength is crucial in soccer because you have to have the speed to run up and down the field to outrun your opponents, and you have to have the physical strength to be able to defend adequately in soccer, right? So if you don't have the quickness, if you don't have the speed, you don't have the strength, you're going to be put in a position where you can't perform well on the offensive or defensive end in soccer. Athleticism, speed, and strength, rigidity is prerequisite in soccer. And if you don't, and if you're lacking in any of those departments, then it's not going to be looking good for you.
So I do recall a powerhouse player. Pele, was it Pele?
Pele, yeah, he was from Brazil.
Oh, oh, he was.
Yeah.
But not no. So yeah. So now thinking back, I have had some experience with um football, soccer,
Uh huh.
right? During the reign of Pele. Pele, is it Pele?
Pele.
Yeah.
We both probably saying it wrong. I mean, we're not Brazilian, so
But he was a powerhouse, wasn't he?
yeah, yeah, yeah. One of the most talented, skillful players of all time. Pele. Yeah, he has won a World Cup. I don't know how many World Cups he has won, but yeah,
Uh-huh.
he's won it with Brazil.
Yeah, I do recall having
And I can
experience
give you more
following
examples. Like
Pele.
The European powerhouses are falling off, right?
Right.
I can give you more examples. Aside from Italy, Germany is another example. Germany has won, I think, a few World Cups. The last World Cup Germany won was the 2014 World Cup. In 2014, Germany was so dominant. I watched like the whole 2014 World Cup. Germany was so dominant and skillful in the World Cup in 2014. And their advantage in the 2014 World Cup is that they were so tall. Most of Germany's
Wow.
players are like most of Germany's players are between 6 feet and like 6'5", and they always had the size advantage against their opponents, which made it easy for them to outrun their opponents. And it made it when you're tall in soccer, you can get headers, you can outrun your opponent, and when you're taller in soccer, it gives you that strength advantage to defend well too. So last 2014 World Cup, I think Germany beat Brazil like 7-0, some crazy scoreline like that. I
Wow.
think that was the semifinal. Do you remember that one?
Which one?
2014 World Cup, Germany beats Brazil like 7-0. Some crazy scoreline like that. That straight up
20,
dominated
that was
over the
2014.
Brazil. Yes, 2014 World Cup. And I think it was the semifinals of World Cup. I saw that game live and I was like, oh wow.
Dang, you had to have
Brazil got like
really, really
embarrassed.
a liking for
Yeah,
soccer to watch the whole game of soccer.
yeah. But what the thing with Germany is that okay, they won the 2014 World Cup, but in the 2018 World Cup, Germany got eliminated the first round. In the 2022 World Cup, the same thing happened. Germany got eliminated in the first round.
Wow.
For the last two World Cups, Germany has failed to escape the group stage of the tournament.
The
They're
the the
falling off. These
the,
European teams are falling off
the
in
goose
talent and
egg,
skill and athleticism,
the goose egg.
and they're just getting worse and worse. These European teams.
I wonder if that is by design.
No, it's not. It's just like, why do you think it will be by design? Like,
What do I think?
yeah,
I think by design because of people, different countries are getting stronger in their abilities, and that's would be considered, as I look at it, by design. Yes or no? Hello, are you there? I think. Hello.
yeah, yeah. I mean, other teams are getting better, no doubt.
And some of the teams that are getting better are teams from where? Africa?
Yeah, like the African teams are improving and Asian teams. Last I think on 2018 World Cup, Germany got eliminated by like South Korea or Japan. I think they got
Wow.
eliminated by South Korea or something last World
So
2018.
are the Asians competitive?
Yeah, Japan and like South Korea, they're competitive. Especially Japan. Japan beat Spain last World Cup.
They did.
Yeah, they're very technically skilled. They're very skilled, but they lack the size and talent. But they're skilled.
So can we assume, based on the fact that they lack what size, that they won't be that competitive?
No, they are competitive, but I don't see them winning a World Cup because they're so small.
They never won one.
Nah, and I don't see them winning one because they're so small. Like usually the teams that are who win World Cup are usually they have size and athleticism. Usually.
Okay.
But it's like
Wow.
it's crazy how all these the European teams are becoming less athletic and less talented. Like,
Okay.
it's not only it's like all of them. Even England, they only have one legit superstar player. Usually these European teams and the South American teams, usually they have like three or four world class players that are like the best in the world. This time around, it's not the case. Most of these
So
European teams,
who is that? Who is that? Yeah, Europe.
say that
You said Europe. That Europe.
the
That's what you
European
referred
teams
to.
this time around, like I was saying, historically, most of these European teams had like three or four world class players. Each European team had like three or four players who are like Pele or Maradona.
That's not happening anymore.
Nah, now these European teams they have like one world class player each team.
Why? Well, no. Why is that?
I don't know what's happening. I don't, man. I can't tell you like the full truth. They're just falling off in talent.
What?
They just are. They're getting less athletic and everything. These African teams are more athletic than European teams. Then,
That's relatively odd because a country
yeah,
like um uh Germany, right? They
hmm,
thrive on being the best.
yeah. But you got to understand, like we just discussed, the last two World Cups, Germany failed to escape the first round of the last two World Cups. So
So we have to assume for the sake of clarity that
yeah,
other countries are becoming more competitive.
that's part of it too. Portugal also. Portugal, their best player now is a 40-year-old Ronaldo. You know who Ronaldo is?
No, I
Cristiano
don't.
Ronaldo. He's like one of the best players of all time. People consider, and he's Portugal's best player. Portugal's best player is an overage 40-year-old Ronaldo.
Wow.
And Portugal is supposed to be a big name team, a powerhouse, and their best player is a 40-year-old overage player. Come on. These European teams are falling off, bro. Same thing with Argentina. Their best player is a 40-year-old Lionel Messi. South
Wow.
American teams, they're falling off too.
And can you know why that is? Why these teams are falling off?
They're becoming less athletic. They're just less athletic, and less talented, man.
That's
I
crazy.
mean, they have the training facilities to be the best of the best because you got to understand these European and South American teams. They've won past World Cups. They've dominated the sport so long that they already have had the best training facilities. And most of these European players and South American players, these teams, they play in the best teams in Europe. So they have the facilities to produce top level talent.
Wow.
But my belief is just the Most High at the end of the day controls everything. The Most High is making it so these European and South American teams are less talented, less skillful than these African teams. Maybe it's the Most High's. Maybe this is the Most High's way to make it the easiest way possible for an African country to win the World Cup. Because
Okay.
Brazil is not even good anymore. Brazil's not a top level team really anymore.
Wow.
Senegal Senegal beat Brazil in a friendly match about 3 years ago.
Uh huh.
Last World Cup, Cameroon beat Brazil. West African country, Cameroon, beat Brazil in the World Cup. Last World Cup.
That is
Brazil never got beaten by an African team in the World Cup before until Cameroon last World Cup.
now that is crazy.
They're falling off, and I'm just seeing all the signs everywhere, man. Argentina, their best player is Lionel Messi. He's 40 years old. They don't have any other player besides him. And
Wait a minute. To compete, they don't have any other competitive players on the team.
they have good players, but without their 40-year-old player Messi, Argentina's not going nowhere. Portugal, without their best player Ronaldo, who's 40 years old, they're not doing anything either. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
But the African team, they're getting more talented. Senegal, for example, man, Senegal has a lot of players that are like good as hell, man. Sadio Mane, Mbaye, who else do they have? Iliman Ndiaye. These African players can outplay anybody. Outplay. I'm telling you, they can, man. I'm telling you, they can. They can dribble. They're fast. They keep ball possession. They're physical on the defensive end. They can strike the ball. Beat any European team. Senegal, Ghana, all these African teams can beat any European or South American team this time around. These African teams are more athletic than these European teams. And I think we're going to see a historic outcome.
Is it safe to say historically a possibility that will
Yeah.
transpire?
But for these African and Black Caribbean teams, their fate lies on their first game. If these African and Black Caribbean teams win their first game, that's going to give them the confidence to propel themselves for the rest of the tournament. So the key for these African and Caribbean teams is to make sure they win their first games.
Wow.
Senegal's first game is against, I think, is against France, if I'm not
So,
mistaken.
when does soccer start?
This World Cup begins on June 11th, and the first
Ju-
game is going to be Mexico versus. It's going to be South Africa versus Mexico, and that game is going to be in Mexico. So Mexico is going to have home field advantage. But the thing about Mexico is that they're getting worse too. They're terrible.
They are.
Mexico used to be a better team than they are now. They're terrible now. That's what I'm saying. I think the Most High is making it so these historical teams are just getting worse and worse, and the Most High is just making it easier for these African teams to dominate them. Mexico is terrible. I've watched them play their last two games. They're terrible, and I think South Africa can beat them. I think they can. They're short. They're unathletic. They're sluggish on the field. And I'm talking about Mexico. I think South Africa can beat them. I think so. I think they can pull it off, man.
Wow.
All the
That's
teams that we thought were so great in soccer: Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, Portugal, England. Man, who else? Spain. They're all getting less athletic and less talented.
that is
The
amazing.
teams are becoming more athletic and more talented. So I think the gap has been bridged, to be honest. And I'm going off the eye test of what I see. The eye test.
Okay.
I use the eye test. I don't always use all past history because just because you won a World Cup 20 years ago doesn't mean you're going to win the World Cup. It doesn't mean you're a good team now just because you're a good team 20 years ago.
Okay.
I'll go off how teams are playing currently. And what I see currently is that these European teams, South American teams, are falling off hard.
Falling out hard.
Yes, yes, they're just getting worse and worse. They don't have they don't have too many superstar players. They're getting like shorter, less athletic. They're less physically strong than they were like a decade ago. Man, and these African players have just they've gotten more physically stronger. They've gotten faster, more athletic, and they've got more confidence.
I think
These
the
African players
confidence.
nowadays are not scared to play against these European, South American teams. They're just not. They're not, man. You have to understand these African teams. They have players that play in the biggest leagues in Europe. So they play against these South American and European players all the time in their club teams. So they're not scared of these players anymore.
Wow. So it's safe to say they used to be scared of them.
Can you repeat that?
They used to be afraid of them.
I think more in the past, yes. But over time, soccer is a worldwide sport. So the whole world outside of Europe and South America has become more talented. And I think I told you earlier in the stream, last World Cup, 2022 World Cup, North African team of Morocco made it to the semifinals. So that showed the African players that hey, they can play at a high level too. So that just gave them confidence. Hey, if Morocco can make it to the semifinals, any African team can make it to the semifinals.
Yeah, that's possible. That's
These African teams are just getting better, man.
wow. This has been really interesting.
And if
I
an
see
African,
that you are really
yeah,
into soccer,
yeah,
football.
man. And if an African country wins it, that would be so damn crazy. You might not know how crucial that would be, man, because soccer is not an American sport. But you have to understand, soccer is the most popular sport in the whole world. In the whole world, soccer is bigger than basketball. Soccer is bigger than boxing. Soccer is bigger than American football. Soccer is bigger than baseball. If an African country wins the World Cup, that would be the most historical sporting event of all time. The most historical sporting occurrence ever will be an African country winning the World Cup. Now, I'm not lying. It will
Wow.
transcend into everyday culture, especially if like a country like Senegal, Nigeria, or Ghana wins it. I have my theories of what will happen. Like, let me give you an example. You're a boxing fan, right?
Exactly.
What if Pacquiao beat Floyd Mayweather in 2015? Do you think there would have been any social repercussions?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? If,
If Pacquiao beats Floyd Mayweather, will there be some repercussions?
uh, Let me first say this: back in 2015, when it first fought,
Uh huh.
social repercussions. Because you have to understand. I'm saying this because you have to understand why do people watch Floyd Mayweather? Why did millions and millions of people pay pay-per-view just to watch Floyd Mayweather lose? Why? Due to racism, right?
That's part and parcel one of the reasons.
One of the main reasons, actually, for real, if you being honest, for real, like millions of people wanted to see Floyd Mayweather lose because he was an arrogant black man who's cocky
Yeah,
and he had a whole
that's
bunch of
true.
money. And that racism propelled Mayweather to be one of the richest athletes ever. Everybody, everybody wanted to see Mayweather lose, and people still want to see him lose. So if Pacquiao beat Mayweather in 2015, we would have saw it would have got racial.
So,
It would
so,
have got racial. It
so
would have got very
it
racial.
is your opinion if Manny Pacquiao beats Floyd Mayweather in 2026 or in 2027 that there would be ramifications because of that loss?
Yes, and it'll be even worse with the World Cup. And I'm gonna give you another example. We talked about the African Cup of Nations, right? Remember
Yeah.
how I told you Senegal beat Morocco? When Senegal beat Morocco, all the Arabs and all the Africans in the stadium were fighting each other. You can look it up on YouTube. They were fighting each other.
When was that? When was that?
This was back in January. Senegal beat Morocco in the African Cup of Nations. And
And it
the,
turned out.
Moroccans and the black Senegalese fans were fighting each other all across the stadium. It's all over YouTube. You can look it up. So and that's just the African Cup of Nations, man. Imagine if an African country won the World Cup, it'll be times five. You have to understand, man. This is bigger than sports, man. This is symbolic. If an African country wins the World Cup, that's symbolic of just like black people uprising over white people. I'm for real. That's symbolic of black people uprising over white people.
So you saying if an African country wins the World Cup, correct?
Yes, you'll see racial tensions worldwide. Guarantee it. And I'm being politically correct. I think some more crazy shit will actually happen, but I'm being politically correct. I'm just gonna say racial tensions.
Now
You
that
old school, bro. You old school. Well, you the same age. You the same age as my grandma, so you should know even more than me.
yeah, but I'm just saying. I mean, it was a time. It was a time that was a possibility, but I just don't think today that people are on that same page as we were in the '60s and '70s. That's my point.
You'll be surprised, man. You'll be surprised. You will be surprised. I mean, do
You
you
know,
know?
I say that primarily as still a committed person that believes a certain way when it comes to the atrocities that are still inflicted on especially black people, right? So I'm not taking anything lightly in what you say, right? There might be a possibility that that could transpire, but I'm saying the mentality of the people today aren't the same as they were in the 60s. Now, you may have an exception to certain people in certain locations, right? But as far
Man, all
as
they do, they just hide it better. They just hide it better.
the who has it better?
Society, they just try to hide it better, man. I've been through so much racism. Again, I got fired from so many jobs because of racism.
So, let me just for the sake of curiosity. So, what type of jobs are we speaking of that you got fired behind racism?
Mainly warehouse work, general
Okay,
labor jobs ran by like Hispanics.
but wait, and you got fired by Hispanics?
Yes,
I mean, that's normal.
and
That's
I'm
normal.
a good worker. I work. I don't make mistakes when I work.
No, but I'm just saying, no, I'm not saying that you make mistakes. I'm saying that's a normal behavior for a Mexican versus a black person. I mean, he works the white folks in certain instances, and that remains today.
That's what I'm saying. But you have to understand, soccer's a worldwide sport, and even in Latin America, Latin Americans are racist. What if an African country beats a Latin American country in the World Cup final, like Argentina?
That was a question, correct?
What if in the World Cup final, Senegal or Nigeria, if Nigeria qualifies for the World Cup, beats Argentina in the final?
You speaking in return the outcome and the potential uh, ramifications for
Lionel,
repercussions.
Lionel Messi is because Lionel Messi plays for Argentina, right? Argentina's a Latin American country. Argentina's a racist country, and Lionel Messi has racist fans all over the world. Imagine if Senegal beats them in a World Cup final. Well, the whole world, it'll be racial tensions everywhere, man. I'm telling you, it will be, man.
Well, I'm going to wait still though because it wouldn't be a bad thing for me. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing for me. The way that I feel, right? But I'm saying I just can't fathom people in this state, this state. I mean, the middle state uh, would have enough heart to um, to raise up.
And do you know like the social media icon I Show Speed?
I show speed.
The young black guy who like he's a social media star.
Okay, so and his name is
I Show Speed.
I show speed.
Yes.
I show speed.
You ever heard of him before?
No, I don't. Wait a minute. Let me see if I'm getting this correct. I show speed. That correct?
Yes.
And he's on what? YouTube.
He's a social media he's like the biggest social media streamer in the world.
So he's black, white, brown.
He's black, right? Look, in the African Cup of Nations, Nigeria defeated the North African country Algeria. Algeria is an Arab country in North Africa, and Nigeria defeated them and in the African Cup of Nations, right? I
Uh-huh.
Show traveled, visited Algeria a few days after Nigeria eliminated Algeria in the World Cup. I mean, in the African Cup of Nations, it was the African Cup of Nations. I Show Speed visited Algeria, and the Algerians were mad that Nigeria eliminated them in the African Cup of Nations, and they were throwing rocks, spitting at I Show Speed, calling him all type of N words and everything because the Arabs in that country were mad that Nigeria beat them in the African Cup of Nations. So they're mistreating I Show Speed, calling him the N word, spitting at him, throwing rocks at him, and all that.
So what did I show speed had to do with the win?
That's the reason why the Algerians were mad that Nigeria defeated them in the African Cup of Nations. And I Show Speed is black. They see us.
Okay.
They see all of us as the same.
So ISO Speed was um who did he have? I mean, I'm trying to figure out how he played into they being mad at him
Because he's black.
simply because he's black,
Yes, and
and he and he
Algeria,
came to
Nigeria,
and he
versus
came to
Nigeria.
support who?
You have to understand, we they see us as all the same, man.
Okay, but ISO Speed when he came to Algeria, who did he come to support?
He was repping Algeria. He had an Algerian jersey and everything,
Oh, okay,
and it was
okay.
still
And the Arabs got mad at him because he was.
because he's black, and they just got beat by Nigeria in the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah, okay.
You know, soccer is a racist country. It's very racist. Soccer. I meant soccer is a very racist sport. It's a racist sport, man. I'm telling you, it is.
Wow.
Yeah. They'll spin that eye show speed, throwing rocks at him, calling him all type of N words, and man, it's on YouTube. And they were upset
I'm gonna definitely
because
have a look at.
Nigeria
I'm
beat
gonna
them
definitely
in the
see if
African
I
Cup
can
of
track that
Nations.
down. ISO speed, ISO
Yeah.
speed. God damn, ISO speed.
He had a whole African tour. He went to every African country.
And he's one of the
He's
what?
like the biggest streamer in the world.
What is ISO speed's function? I mean, what is his purpose?
He's a social media streamer. He's an entertainer.
So it's like what's that cat name? Uh what's that dude's name? White. Is it White? Uh, Charles White.
Charleston White?
Charleston White. Yeah. Is he like Charleston White?
Oh, not exactly. Charleston White is like a yeah. Nah, he's a totally different type of personality than Charleston White, to be honest. Charleston White be saying
What do you think about
nonchalant stuff.
Charleston White?
No, not exactly like Charleston White, but
No. I know the question was, what do you think about Charleston White?
um, I'm not gonna lie, I agree with some of his takes. He's very controversial, but he's funny. He's a funny guy, no doubt about that. What do you think about him? I mean,
I think he's an idiot.
you think he's an idiot? I
I
mean,
think he's an idiot.
some of what he says is true though, but it's like he doesn't. I can see why you think he's an idiot, but he's funny to me, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he's funny, but I'm saying that he's an idiot because the stuff that he's saying, you know what I'm saying, is primarily to uh, extract, right,
Mhm.
finances out of whoever listens to him. he's, he's making money off of being an idiot. I guess it's all right. I guess it's
Oh,
okay. I
yeah.
mean, in this world, in this country that we live in, you know what I'm saying? That's socially acceptable because this is a capitalist country, and the theory is, or the notion is, if I can get over you by not hurting you and talking about you, okay, that's fine. In this country,
Mhm.
okay, brother, I gotta go on myself a little bit in a few more minutes.
All right, man. It was nice speaking with you,
No, wait a minute, but not let's. How you doing on this show? I mean, how many times a week do you do this?
man. I haven't really been doing this channel regularly, but I'm gonna pick it up. I'm trying to do 3 live streams a week. I'm
Okay,
trying to do more World Cup
you
coverage.
gotta get if you you know what I mean. If you that sincere about your desire,
Yeah,
um,
I'm gonna pick
you
up
need to
pick
get
up the pace.
you need to ship. You need to get you some and be consistent with it, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna be more consistent.
Yeah, get consistent with it, and so it can keep you. You need to stay. I think you need to stay busy.
Yeah,
You have a lot of talent.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And you need to stay just like Charleston White. You got a lot of talent, but I think that you need to horn in on it and make some money out of it
yeah,
because you're very intelligent
yeah.
and you can do the same thing. What's his name? ISO Speed.
Yeah, yeah,
Brother, you can do the same thing. So I'm gonna give a shout out to myself, Jack Daniels at the Boxers Trainers Channel, right? For any of you guys out there that love boxing, Jack Daniels at the Boxers Trainers Channel,
yeah.
YouTube.
Check his channel out. Much respect.
Yes, sir, brother. I appreciate being on with you. We'll do it again sometime
All right, man.
later.
Nice speaking with you, man.
See,
All
how
right.
you get out of here? I can't get out of here. Oh, okay. There you go. No. Uh. Oh, there you go.